Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon. Back again.
Are you all doing well?
Yep.
That's good. I'm glad to hear. All right, I think we can start. If you all, there's maybe some more people going to be logging in, but let's start. Thank you so much for joining us. So today we're doing the quick check for invoicing module before you roll your month date over. Now, as we all know, the invoicing module is very critical and very important because without your invoices, you don't have your debtors or your income or your output VAT or your suppliers. So it is very important that all your invoices is done before you roll over the month, simply because if you don't invoice in the correct month, the supplier has got agreement with you and not with your client. So if you didn't invoice your client, the supplier requires its money and you're going to have to pay the money up from your own pocket until you actually receive the money from the debtor. So invoicing is extremely important, and we do not roll our date over until absolutely every single invoice for the month that you're in is captured. You can double check your voucher program to see if there was any vouchers that was issued for the period of July before you roll over, to phone the supplier and request all the invoices to make sure that all of your invoices for the current period is in. So if all your land is in and all of your BSP is in, or if you don't not a BSP and you've got not IATA and you're doing your ticketing through somebody else, it is advisable that if you get your BSP billing, that you first capture and make sure all of your BSP billings is in. And if you ticket through a ticketing office, make sure that you get a statement from them that you can double check all of your tickets to make sure that all of your relevant information is in. So there's a few checks that you can check to make sure that all of your tickets is in. If you are not an IATA holder, unfortunately, the ticketing list doesn't work as easy as when you do your ticketing through an office, because QuickTrav has got the automated ticketing system. But if you do everything manually, then it's not always so easy. But QuickTrav still tries and helps us where they can with all the checks that it's got with its numbering of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But we're just going to go through a few things to make sure that everything works fine. And if you've got any questions, we'll look at it afterwards. So let's go. So in invoicing, if you click your file, of course, you've got to make sure all your invoices is done. The most important place for you to check is your invoice register, because your invoice register is the paper trail of all the invoice that's been done. So over here, as you can see there, your status is posted. If in your own system, there might be an error, which will be a pinky purpley color, or the status will say unposted, you can press the post button. QuickTrav will tell you how many is unposted, meaning not all posted. You can either reset and repost everything for the current month, or you can just post the 1 or 2 that didn't go. So once you've posted, you know that your debtors is live and your creditors is live and your VAT is live. So that little post button is very good, and you will also not be able to close your month end until the statuses of your invoice register all reads posted. So that's one of the checks you can do, is to make sure your invoice register, all of your invoices are posted and there's no errors on it. Then on your BSP, there's always a lot more places to check ticket numbers. You can either on the detailed register, you can put a ticket number in, and QuickTrav will check your ticket history. So on any ticket that you stand on, you can say the ticket history, and you can see if it's 1 invoice, 2 invoices, 3 credit notes, to see if the documentation is in. But if you don't want to do every single ticket one by one, you can also just do a ticket sequence check. So if you pull a report from your GDS system, and it will tell you the first ticket that was issued to the last ticket. You can do this on a daily basis to make sure that all of your invoices is done daily. You can put your first ticket issued and your last ticket issued in here, and just tell QuickTrav to go and print you the list. Then QuickTrav will go through if it's automated tickets to see if all of your tickets is there. If it's not automated, Even any tickets that got invoiced out, QuickTravel will give you a list, and anything that's not invoiced, it will tell you missing tickets or duplicate tickets. So if your sequence checks works out, then you know that your TINS report or your GDS report and QuickTravel is in. Otherwise, like I say, the one-by-one ticket lookup, which you also find in your detailed register. But then you can always just do your BSP reconciliation, and you can print so far for the month, or you can just print the first week to also see if all of your BSP tickets is in, and not just BSP tickets, but even if you do tickets through a ticket office, you can get a statement from them, and they can tell you already if all of the relevant information is in. And before you close your month end, you can make sure that all of the tickets that's on here is the tickets that is either on your ticketing office statement, or if you've got your BSP billing, you can check your BSP billing to see if this, all of the information is in. And of course, if you go here and you see a ticket that's missing, you must know now you need to re-invoice it because all of the tickets is not in. So that's the other place to check. And then lastly, if you do your ticketing through Club Travel or you're a BSP vendor, you can always go for your import and auto invoice air tickets. Go check for your tickets. You can say start, and QuickTravel go every 5 seconds, go check your GDS system to see if there is any new tickets. And then on your ticketing register, which will fall all of your paper trail. So in QuickTravel, it already says to me there's accounting errors here. So you will not be able to do a month end until your import history register is all invoiced out. I do it via accounting error, or you can do it invoice manually. Anyway, it doesn't matter how you do it. As long as the invoice is done, you will know that your ticketing register is in, and your BSP will be up to date. This ticketing register won't do all your the refunds, your ADM and your ACMs, which is on your BSP billing. So it is always important to make sure everything is done 100%. This is just your ticketing import register for each ticket. So if you do not know, you can either invoice it totally manually by going in a new invoice, put the ticket number in, and QuickTravel do it, or you can just copy the list, or you can stand on the line item and you can say invoice manually, and QuickTravel will bring that PNR up as a manual invoice for you with a ticket attached. And as you know, all the parts here that is missing is the one that we need to fill out. So the ticket date is always your the date that it was issued on, but you know that you're in full control to change that date any day, but that is normally the issuing date. Then it will be the client. As you know, it's either your corporates or your debtors, so you will put in if it's a debtor or a leisure. And there you will either put your account number in if you know it off heart. If you don't, you can just type the client's name in, or the old drop down. You're always safe when you go to anywhere in QuickTravel with your drop down for your lookup tables, and you can pick your client and you can pick it. And then of course your consultant, who was the person that getting the revenue on the ticket. You pick the name. If there's an order number, you need to put the order number in. And then as well, you can just double click on the actual ticket to see if all of the relevant information is in there. What is your payment method? If it's cash or credit card, you can change it, and you are good with your ticket. So I've got some benchmark fares that I got to put in here. Sorry. And just not everything needs to be in place here. If you don't have benchmarks fares, then don't worry about it. I'm just going to put that in. And then, of course, that is just your ticketing. If you're charging any service fees over and above, of course, this is more just the ticketing history. So it's only going to give you information on the ticket itself. So if you still need to do your service fee, people, either the hand with a calculator or new service fee, and you have to go manually put in your service fees. If the DI increase wasn't all put in for automation, meaning it's already got the service fees in it, it's got all your accounting information like your consultant code and your QuickTravel account number, everything will have to be done manually to process the invoice and to make sure it's correct. So if it's a domestic ticket, it will be SER for our standard, and if it's international, you will have a 0-rated service fee code to help you with your service fee. You click on your source reference to connect your service fee with your line item, so you don't have to go put the surnames in again, and then you know if it's 0-rated or standard rated, And then, of course, I mean, what you're charging for the ticket. So there's your invoice done. It was an accounting error. So we can either do it via accounting error, or we can do it invoice manually. And with this, you can add insurances, you can invoice land suppliers, car hires, hotels, and you can give the client one invoice. But we're not doing invoicing training today. So I'm just telling you what all you can do. So as soon as you're going to say save, QuickDrive is going to save it, and your status of accounting error is going to change. As it's going to save the documentation, it's going to say it is now done via manual. Your invoice number is there. Your printer will come up to either say, would you like to view it, print it, or just cancel it, as all the other invoices is. And there's my benchmark fares and published fares, which is over there, my savings report. So once all of your accounting errors is gone, now we can do one. Yeah, see, we've got another one. So we can do this one via accounting. Edit accounting, so it's not going to open up an invoice manually for us. It's going to give us the backdrop of all the missing information. Once again, the consultant, we can pick the consultant. Is it a D and an L? Put in the information. And what is our QuickDrive account number? And there's nothing else highlighted, so we don't have to worry about it. It will tell us how many tickets was on the P&R number. We can put benchmark fares in here as well. And it's like I say, sorry, I got to put these in. You don't have to do all of that. Oh dear, that's not good. There's no benchmark. Okay, sorry. It's because I made it a L account now benchmarks. There is no benchmarks on my system, so I'm just going to change that back to a corporate. At least we know these things are in. Let's just go back to the ticket, open it up. I'm just going to put that in. Sorry, don't worry about too much about this. Then we get to our fees. So this is our, if you would like to charge a service fee on the relevant ticket, you will put a tick in the box and QuickDrive will ask you what type of service fee is that you want to charge. So if you're saying you want to charge a service fee, booking fee, whatever in your office expenses, you've got different coding for your service fee types. Please double click or drop down on the relevant one that is particular to this line item. Put in the amount that you're going to charge. Remember, if it is domestic, it will add the VAT onto it. If it's 0 rated, you will pick a different code so that it is not with VAT. And then you can also apply, if your P&R number has got more than one surname on it, you can either do it one service fee for the whole invoice, or you can ask a service fee per passenger or per ticket. Because if it's a roundabout ticket and you've got 2 ticket numbers for one around the world ticket, you will only do one ticket number and not per passenger. Otherwise, it's going to ask it for both line items. So be very careful when you do passenger and when you do ticket. If the one client has got 2 continuous tickets, then I would rather just ask per passenger. But if it's only one invoice, nothing else on it, one P&R number, one traveler, you can just say invoice, and that 150 Rand plus VAT will apply to that. And then if there's automatic service fees, of course, people do not worry about putting a service fee in because the automatic service fees will automatically come. Then in your general, you can also split it further as to say that you do not want to do this automatically. You want to invoice it out manually. There's, once again, if you've got more than one P&R number on your surname on one P&R, you can do different invoices and it will split the P&R number for you. You do not want to print this right now, so just ignore that. And if you would like your detailed invoice to change to consolidated invoice, you can also force it here. So it's very much like your manual invoice. Here, instead of doing drop downs and maneuvering it, here you're actually putting ticks in the box, and QuickDrive will change your invoice to as to how you are asking with the ticks. Then over here on the blue screen will be your DI entries. So if you've put that in the GDS system from the beginning, you wouldn't have any accounting errors, but some people do drop one line in their DI entry if they would like to either add more service fees or they would like to add land arrangements on top of the ticket to give the client one invoice. But if you know your DI entries, and it's all automated. You don't have to ever come in here manually unless it is a low-cost airline, which was done on the internet and not via your IATA. So if you're happy with that, you can say save. QuickDrive will now say it's a new line item, because remember, we got to wait for the importing of the tickets in the back here, where it will go through to the server and double check the new PNR numbers that is available. And as you will see now, the status has now changed to auto invoiced as to where it was now accounting error and where we've done manual. Now we still got one more to do. So there's two ways to do it: either accounting, invoice manually, or you can highlight, you can copy the field, and you can go to a normal invoice, and you can actually go and do this as a normal manual invoice. But that is silly to do that, because as you stand on the line item and you say invoice manually, you can also do it. But some people just go straight to a new invoice, type everything out, and if the ticket history is in the back here, remember when it asks you, would you like to import a ticket, you're going to say yes, because then it will import all of the relevant information and you do not have to do anything manually, which is very nice of QuickDrive, because it's got a memory on the PNR number, which will bring in all the information. So once again, the date will be the date that the ticket was issued, but you can change the date if it wasn't the date of the issue, but it will always be. Once again, here is the debtor corporate. So we're just going to have to run through all of that again. Sorry. Change the consultant. There's no order number, so we're fine. So I have to open up mine because I got published fares on. So I just got to open it up quickly and just go put it in. And sorry, just. And there's my ticket done. If you would like to charge a service fee, as you know, you can just go into the calculator and charge a service fee. But if it's a reissue and you're not charging your client a service fee, then it's all good. You can just go and save the document. But now, guys, if you've done your invoicing on a daily basis and 5 o'clock your client has phoned you and he has now canceled its ticket, it is a proper tax invoice with an invoice number. So if you now go through your TINS report and the next morning you discover that this ticket is no longer a valid ticket because it got cancelled, it is invoiced in QuickDrive, but now our BSP is showing that we owe this ticket, which is incorrect. So then we have to do a credit note and we need to do a new invoice, but we will record the ticket number, but as a manual one, because remember, we need to void that, and with a void, we don't void in QuickDrive, we do a credit note. So then in the normal invoice register, we are going to go look for our ticket. Oh dear, sorry, I just want to interrupt this quickly and stop that. So in the invoice register, you can go look for the relevant information, or you can go to your detailed register, it doesn't matter. So whatever ticket needs to be voided, you must know you can go here, copy and paste, put the information into a credit note, say paste. The blue line item will return to a red line item to say that I'm not doing a credit note. We don't do any changes in the credit note. We're going to go save and save. So now if you're going to put that ticket number in QuickDrive, it's going to show an invoice and a credit note, but we still need to invoice it out, but as a cancel ticket. So if you stand on that voided ticket, you say copy, paste, you put it into a new invoice. You will now have to change it because it's no longer valid to the client's account. You have to now put it to your cancel ticket account because it's no longer the client's information that needs to be in there. Consultant still stays there. And please, people, you need to open up the line item and all the amounts needs to be null. So you type in a null, you override the amounts because remember, it's not a valid ticket. And your domestic, you will also now change to a cancel ticket because this ticket number we're recording in QuickDrive for further references. If somebody would like to know the history of this and your TINS report or your GDS report has gone missing, in QuickDrive, you type in the ticket number, and by typing in the cancel ticket, QuickDrive knows that this was not a valid ticket. But we still record the ticket number, the day of issue, we say save, and now it will tell you, are you sure you want a null fare? You're going to say yes, because avoided ticket has got no value. So we're just going to change our publish fair because that is not relevant anymore. So now when we say, why does it want to benchmark reasoning code? Oh dear, this is not. Let's just see here. All right, so there's our ticket. It's got a 0 on it. It is gone to the cancel ticket list, is where it's exactly where we want it, because that ticket number needs to be recorded. So we're going to go save. It's telling us it is a 0 ticket, which is perfect. That's exactly what we want, but we are just recording the canceled ticket number. Happy with that? Right, so we're going to save it. And now on our ticketing list, the ticket number is still going to be there. It's going to be on our BSP report, on our ticketing list report, but as a 0 figure. And on your BSP billing, it will also say void, which is 100%. So we recorded absolutely all the ticket numbers. So in your ticket register, the ticket will still be there as the original invoice that you raised it as invoice 185. But remember, in the background, we've now done a credit note and a new invoice, because this has got the original information on invoice 185 when the ticket was issued. So if all of your view import register tickets is correct, QuickDrive will feel there's no missing tickets. So if all of your land arrangements has been done, all of your pro forma invoices that you've done through the month brought into a proper tax invoice, then you are almost ready to check your statement. So if any supplier sends you a statement, you can now go into inquiries, go into your line item inquiries, go put in supplier on this side to say that you would just like to look at your suppliers, but I've already saved one. So I'm just going to go to my suppliers list. So you put in your dates as to from where to where you want to look at. I've already asked just my source code just for land, because remember my statements is going to be my land suppliers and one will be my BSP, but I won't be doing a report from here for my BSP. So if you want to look at your suppliers, you're going to ask for all of the supplier names and you can just say, okay, the Protea Hotel statement, say current group, and here you can see all of the invoices that was raised in QuickDrive to balance to my statement. So you've got a total and a debtors total. So total is all the invoices that was cashed, and if there was a 0 amount here, then it means this client don't owe the hotel. So you only look at your debtors amounts to make sure that you owe the supplier. So if this matches up with your statement from your supplier, you know all of your invoices was done. If you are missing a line item of their statement, then plain and simple, go through either to the voucher program, find the information, retrieve the voucher into QuickDrive so that we can invoice it. If you do not have the voucher program, phone the hotel, get the information, and please invoice it out so that your monthly statement is correct. A bit slower. All right, Brenda, where did you lose me? What can I show you again? Okay, right. Shall we do that again? All right. Okay. Let me just do that. I take it you've lost me a bit from where we've done reports. So checking your statements, you're going to go to inquiries, line item. You can just put your supplier, because remember, you're looking for your suppliers, which is your creditors. You're going to put supplier name. You're going to put in the dates in that is relevant to your statement date. You're going to go right click. You're going to say auto sort. Your source code, if you just would like to look at your land, you're going to apply a filter to say equal to, and you're just going to put in 2, just for your land. You're going to go save. You're going to remove the group totaling. You're going to go bold and view, and QuickDrive will give you all of your land suppliers that you've invoiced for the period. Any supplier that you stand on, you drop down and you say current group only, and it will give you your information. Anywhere on any reports, when you double click, it will go and open up the paper trail in QuickDrive. And as you can see here, this is a null value. So you do not owe the supplier that, but if the statements say you owe them, then you know, all right, this invoice was done incorrectly. It should have a total. I should get my invoice from my client to pay the supplier. Now, if you've already rolled over your month, then you're not going to wait longer for your money because your invoice was incorrect. But if you check your supplier statements before you roll over, you can still rectify your mistake by saying, all right, invoice 171 was a mistake. You can go credit note. You can go retrieve your invoice number 171. You press the retrieve button. We're going to save a credit note straight away. We never do any adjustments on a credit note. So we've got invoice 171. We've got our credit note 18, and we're now going to go back into an invoice. We're going to say retrieve invoice 171 again, and just change the payment method. Because remember, now we owe the supplier, so this must be cash because I owe the supplier minus my commission or none. Once again, while you're in the invoice, you're in control with changing everything, so you don't have to go and do another credit note, because when you did the second invoice, there was finger problems there as well. So while you're in this invoice, make sure everything is correct. Happy with the day it's booking in, the invoice number, the amounts, and then you can say save. So now, when you redo this, your debtors total here will be a value. Now it was not. So now I just go cancel my report, run my report again, and see now there's a value. Now there was nothing, so there's my 1,500 Rand now current, is to say there's the invoice for a zero amount, there's my credit note for my zero amount, and here's my proper tax invoice. I'm happy with my supplier statement. I've charged my client the invoice. So all my land, all my statements has been checked. All of my suppliers is in, and you can either say full levels, meaning check all of your suppliers one by one, or just stand on a certain line item like Beachcomber Tours or whatever, and just look at one relevant supplier at a time. All up to you how you run your books. So once you finish with checking your creditors, then you know you're ready to roll over the month. And once you've checked your BSP reconciliation after receiving your billing, and you say full month, and you also run your BSP billing, you will make sure that all of your relevant information that's on there is in your ticketing list. I just want to make this a bit bigger. So here's all of your ticket numbers, and it will show you what's invoiced and what's not invoiced, and there it will say if you owe your supplier due to BSP or not. So this is, you have to check your BSP billing. Now, that is a whole process all on its own, but at the end of the day, the total that we've got here is the total you need to pay over to IATA, or it's the total you need to pay over to your ticketing office. If your ticketing office sends you a statement just on the fees, then it will not show here, because remember, this is just for tickets. It's not the fees that they charge you for issuing. So that you're going to have to run a total different thing. So this is just your ticketing list to make sure all of your tickets has been raised to either your debtor or your leisure, to make sure you received your money to pay your supplier. So if your BSP is in, all of your land arrangements is in, you've done the necessary changes to do ADMs or ACMs. If you can't invoice ACM or credit note, and ADM or invoice, you know that you've got to do the journals, but that is plain and simple a BSP reconciliation report. It needs to be done, run, and your BSP department needs to tell you if all of your tickets is in. So once all the land is in, all the air tickets is in, you are ready to change the date. I normally don't change the date until my BSP billing is in, because it's very difficult to reconcile a BSP billing over 2 periods. And as well, I like to check all my creditors' statements first before I roll over the period, so that I know all my information is in. So once you're ready with that, you can plain and simple now go to your utilities, go to your month end, and it's always advisable to first do a backup before you do anything. So we always go File, Data Files, Backup Zip. We prepare it, zip it to make it smaller, because remember the data gets bigger and bigger every time you use it. Then we're going to go copy to. You're going to open up your hard drive, put it in, or you're going to put your memory stick in, your USB stick. Or if you do it to cloud, you're going to copy, you're going to say where your memory stick is, you're going to say, okay. As soon as your backup is done, you know you can move on. All right, so we're just going to cancel that. So once your backup is done, okay, I'm just going to do that. Sorry, I'm a bit stuck here. Oh dear, why am I stuck? Shouldn't be stuck. All right, so once your backup is done, you go to utilities and you follow the screen instructions with the month end. If all of your invoices is in, there should be no reasons for this month end not to run, meaning you have checked all of your invoice registers to make sure that all your invoices is posted. If they're all posted and you've gone to your ticket register and all of your red accounting errors is filled out, your two main registers is done. Then you can go and say, okay, do month end, and guys, just follow screen instructions. It will do a re-index. So let it just do its thing. If there's any errors on any of the registers, QuickDrive will block you, and you'll have to go and fix the errors first, because there's some QuickDrive checks that goes in for you to double check all of your registers if there was a saving error, if there's a ticketing that's missing, and then once everything is happy, QuickDrive will run the month end and your date will change into the new period. All right, that was my training in a nutshell. It's really just to make sure all your invoices is in, either via your land suppliers or your air suppliers. Is there anything anybody would like to ask me? Cheryl, you good? All right, that's good. Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a wonderful day. Stay warm, keep safe until the next training session. Goodbye, everybody. Thank you.